Okay, this video is about particles and how to do particles using the drag and drop sequence in GameMaker Studios. Alright, let's begin here. So, I created two objects. Number one is a red square, called it object underscore part. So this is the container for the particle. This step, you can leave that at 0 because it doesn't matter. Then the second object is an image that I just created in GameMaker. You can make one with in Photoshop if you want. I'm going to use this as an example to using particles using an image that I bring in from GameMaker from Photoshop, or just created one in GameMaker Studios, or you can use one of the animations within that was built in GameMaker Studios. So let's begin here. So in the object part, you have to go to create, and you have to use certain plugins for your actions and for the particles to work, because if you don't have it in there, GameMaker will throw up an error saying that you need this in here for it to work. So you need create particle system. That's going to start your particles so it will animate on screen. The depth means that if your character is at -11, then if you want the particles in front of the character, you would say -12. If you want the particles in the back of the character, you would say -10. Alright, and then the second one you would need in there, from the create tab, is create particles. So the type ID means that you have to select one of the type IDs. You have type 0 through 15. This determines how random each type shows a different random particle on screen. So type 3 can be different from type 4. So they're all random in different locations of the screen. So it puts these particles in different areas of the screen when you choose different types. Alright, and then this is the GameMaker has built-in animations. They have pixel, disc, circle, line, star, circle, ring, spear, flare, spark, explosion, cloud, smoke, and snow. But for right now, I'm just going to click on pixel, and I'm going to choose my sprint that I created within GameMaker. And then when you do your own sprint, you got to make sure you set it to pixel. The min size, the max size, you get to have at least one in here for one of these squares. You got to have one in here at least. If you have a 0 for both, they won't show up on the screen. You have to have at least one. The size increments means this is going to basically scale your image up. If you want it to be normal size, keep your image at 0. Keep the size increments at 0. If you want it stretched bigger, then you change the number to 5 or whatever, or 10 or 12 or whatever, and you'll see it scale up bigger. So let me show you. When I click on it, it shows an animation pop up, and then it dies. As long as your animation doesn't die completely, you can keep clicking on it and it'll keep coming up randomly. Once it completely dies, you can't click on the screen anymore. Alright, so that's the square that I created right here. If I want to use something that GameMaker already had set up, then make sure that's set to no sprint, and then I'm going to change this to like flare. See how it shows up, and it changes color too. And I have this set in global. I went to add event and went to mouse and went to global mouse and clicked on the left press. That means that you can click anywhere on the screen and it will generate the particles. Or if you want it in a certain location, then change the mouse to a left press. Make sure the square is visible so you know where to click on it at, and then you can click only in that one location and it'll do the particles. And they die because I have a alarm set in the when you click on it, I have alarm set in the main 2 tab. I dragged over alarm, set it to 100. You can change it to 50. That's going to do it at a shorter period of time. 50 milliseconds. Alarm's 0. Make sure that matches with what alarm says right here from that event. Make sure it's set to alarm 0 since the other one's set to alarm 0. And you can change this to 50 as well. Make sure it matches. And then it's going to be destroyed. The particle is going to be destroyed after 50 milliseconds. See, they die quicker. Alright, and you got to make sure that you click on add event, go to destroy, and then you want to also go back to your extras and you want to clear your particles. Because I know if you do the particles within your phone system or your tablet, if you don't have a clear all particles, then they're going to be animating in the background. You're not going to see it, but they're going to be animating in the background, and it could slow down your phone processor speed, and it could kill your app, could crash your game system. So you got to make sure you clear all your particles after, even when it dies. Also, in alarm 0, you want to make sure you destroy your particle system, which I just talked about. That's going to, after so many milliseconds, it's going to destroy your particles completely. But you want to make sure you clear your particles as well, just in case. That way it doesn't bog down on your phone processor speed and slow everything down. And if you have too many particles in your game, it will slow everything down. But for the computer, it seems like it works fine. It doesn't slow nothing down. But you got to be aware of your phone device and tablets. It may slow it down depending on your phone processor and how many particles you use. Alright, and then you can also have a color, which I talked about. It changes color from green to yellow. You can change that to any color you want. And then this is going to, the start alpha, end alpha talks about when it's going to fade in, when it's not going to fade in, or how far it's going to fade in, and then it's going to go completely out, die out. This changes within the particle. Changes the color within the particle, or you can have a mixed, which will be different colors on different particles, and all the particles are in the room will be mixed, or you can have it change within the particle. And when you do change your type number, make sure it all matches. So your type ID for create a particle will be type 3, then you want to make sure your color is going to be type 3, otherwise it won't show up. When you test your particles, it won't show the current colors because you didn't change your ID to the same type number. So make sure it matches. Also, you have to have an emitter in here. The emitter 2, it doesn't have to be on emitter 2. You could have it on emitter 4 or whatever. V-shape icons doesn't seem to work for some reason within GameMaker, but you got to have this create emitter in here. The X-min and the Y-min determine the location of where your particles are going to be at in the game. The X-max and Y-max, I don't know what that does, but I would just keep it at 1 for both. I'm not sure. I think that also determines the location in the game. The emitter ID, I think, changes the particles and how random they pop up or how they animate. And then in the left press also have a burst type. So I went to extras and went to I changed it. Oh, you got to make sure this matches the other one too. So make sure that matches 4. So in the color, in the crate, I make sure emitters 4 here in the crate, and then also in the left press, make sure it's set to 4 as well. So it's got to match. This determines how many particles are going to pop up on screen. So you can make that 1, and then it should change to a different number. It does 1. See how small that is? It does really small. So did more. See, I did 10 and I did that many. And then you could also use this stream emitter. You can change that to 4, make that type 3, make sure it matches 10, and we'll do something different. See how it populates differently, and then gets destroyed because I have it set to 50 milliseconds on the timer. You also can add a gravity in there. And see how it falls down and then it dies. So it all depends on what you want to do. And there's explosion. And then dies. So it just depends on what you want to do in the game. Snow. And if you move the square, I think it also show, I think it might put it somewhere else. Not really. You really have to mess with the location, so you gotta mess with the X-men and the Y-men. Change these coordinates and they'll be in a different location. See how it changed the location? So you got to change those coordinates so they'll be different. All right, I'll throw this GMX file on YouTube, and you can play around with it. See, I would just pretty much keep what I have in here, and you can just change your shapes here or add it. Bring in an image in the sprint. And in the actions here, you could change this extra here to something else if you wanted to try this. I didn't try the secondary particle. I'm not sure if this would work or not. Die sequence. Count. I don't know. I can try this one. I haven't tried it yet. Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that one. That one, I'm not sure why that one's not working. Probably because I don't have I didn't create a secondary particle in the create section here. I wouldn't mess with life because you're dealing with alarm systems already, and you already have a destroy sequence. You really don't need a life in here. I messed with that. It doesn't seem like it does anything. Yeah, I'm not sure how to get the secondary particle to work. But you can play around with it like I've done it. And yeah, that one's talking about part system, but it doesn't talk about the secondary one. Yeah, I don't know how to get the secondary particle to work. But you can play around with it and see what you can do. Thanks for watching.